Just when I thought that game developers couldn't surprise me anymore, this happens. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a standalone add-on for Far Cry 3, which was released on 1st of May 2013. The game is more a homage to 1980s pop culture than it is a continuation of the Far Cry series, rather than just regurgitating the original and somewhat half-decent Far Cry 3 premise. The story of Blood Dragon is something completely new, and it's all the better for it. You play as Sergeant Rex Power Colt, voiced by none other than the mighty Michael Biehn. Rex is a cyber commando who's been sent to a nameless island to investigate the misdeeds of his former commanding officer, Colonel Sloan. In true 1980s action movie style, an early tragedy sends Rex on a quest for revenge, with his secondary objective only to save the entire world. The story takes its cues from such legendary 80s action movies as Commando and Cobra, as well as some sci-fi elements from movies such as RoboCop and The Terminator, and it's simply glorious. Devoid of that sort of pseudo-realism and self-proclaimed depth that most modern games attempt to invoke.
Objective complete. Jump down to the sub-level.
Are you kidding me?
You are not the punchline. You are a killing machine. Jump.
Blood Dragon takes one look at this idea and gives it the middle finger. I could list all the references from the age of my childhood that this game crams into its paltry 3.5 gigabytes, but instead I think it's best for you to find them out for yourselves. Although there was one mission that I must mention, and that would be the turtle mission. The turtle mission being you've got to go and clear out a bunch of turtles from a sewer, and lo and behold, they're eating pizza, and there are 4 of them. For anybody who doesn't get that reference, you are very young indeed. Blood Dragon preserves the excellent and tight controls of its parent game and slaps on some neon-drenched 80s themes on top of it. This isn't a bad thing at all, as Far Cry 3 had some great gameplay, and although some things have been removed, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. The hunting in the game has been streamlined, so now all you get is XP and a little bit of money every time you kill something. Also, the map is a lot smaller, and the tattoo skill system is gone, but to be honest with you, I really didn't miss any of these elements at all. Actually, it made the game feel a lot better because there were no distractions. I could just go about my business trying to save the world as a cyber commando, and really that's all anybody should ever want, to be honest, in their games. Rex is part man and part machine, and therefore he's far more likeable than Jason Trust Fund Brody. He's a lot tougher too, and this means that you can run for miles without breaking into a sweat. You can swim underwater without having to go up for breath every 5 minutes, and you can also jump from quite large heights without dying. And this is really good. It may be trivial or seem trivial in terms of upgrades, but it really does mean that there are a lot more possibilities on offer for creating chaos. Ubisoft's Juno 2 engine shows its flexibility with this game. The neon lights and crimson looking sky are fantastic, and the general art direction within the game beats Far Cry 3 hands down in my opinion, from the excellent animations when Rex's arm comes in front of the camera when he attempts to heal himself, to the beautifully lit indoor areas. Blood Dragon just simply has that sort of 80s aesthetic narrowed down to a T. It looks like the most awesome VHS tape cover you'll ever find. The sound design in the game equals that of Far Cry 3, but it's far more memorable. The leading protagonist does a fantastic job with all these really awesome one-liners that you'd expect from a movie of the era it's trying to portray. There are simply tons of great points of humour and nostalgia all packed within the game, and there wasn't a moment where it really didn't bring a smile to my face. Lastly, it's also backed up by one of the best video game scores I have ever heard from the group Power Glove. It sums up everything of the 80s and that atmosphere that you used to get from sci-fi films. It feels like the love child of a Vangelis composition mixed with some modern Daft Punk, and it just retains that brilliant 80s vibe throughout. from the graphics and the presentation of this game, the developers really have shown how much they cared for the project. It may have been one of those joking little things that started off in the darkest bowels of Ubisoft's headquarters, but it has really blossomed into something which I could see being its own series, and I really hope they do make it its own series, because this would definitely have legs as far as I'm concerned. It certainly does a better job than Duke Nukem Forever did in bringing us just that stellar action game which really does not try and be anything else other than what it's meant to be. Very much like the 80s action movies of the period. It's certainly something which I think people of my age, and maybe even a bit younger, can truly appreciate. It won't come as any surprise that the verdict for this game is a full 5 out of 5, although if I could I'd cover it in a load of hairspray and metallic paint and everything that I can remember from the 80s and put it on my mantelpiece. It is absolutely glorious. You'd be doing yourself immense disservice if you missed this game. For those who didn't play Far Cry 3, it is a really good introduction into the core mechanics of that game, as well as also providing a graphical showcase to whether or not you can run Far Cry 3. It's only £11 on Steam, and I'm not sure how much that is in dollars, but it's probably something similar, and it is worth every penny. I truly believe that Ubisoft have shown the larger developers such as EA this is the way you do DLC. It's kind of from the Bethesda model. Let's offer them more quality, let's offer them something they don't see in the actual game, let's not gouge it out from the original game, let's make it its own proper thing. And for it to be standalone as well is very, very impressive. I'm very glad that they've done that, because people who really don't want to pony up the money for Far Cry 3 can try out Far Cry 3 in essence, albeit a far more supercharged version. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the review. Please subscribe below, there's going to be more videos over the coming weeks. Anyway, I'm Sir D, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah.